First of all, a little bit about WriteUp. We're based in Chester and we're passionate about simple software. So we're a really close-knit bunch, although we are spread out over Denmark, England and Scotland at the moment. We are hiring as well, so we may increase that as well. We currently have around 13,000 users in 25 countries, from the UK to the US, even Australia, New Zealand, the Middle East. That's just to name a few of them. And we also have geo-replicated data centers in 2 EU-based countries. And what that means is that data is replicated in real time to 2 separate physical locations in the EU. We're ISO certified, which is recognized worldwide as the standard for information security management. And we also have long-term contracts with a number of NHS trusts, with WriteUp in its early days evolving from that product. So before we take a look at WriteUp in action, let me explain briefly what cloud-based software is and what the benefits are to you. You may already know what it is, but for those of you who don't, the best way to think about cloud-based software is it's like a utility or a service. So there's no software to install, there's nothing to download, and everything is stored in our secure data centers, which are operated by Microsoft. So you simply open up your web browser, log into your site and do what you need to do. The bottom line is that you have access via any device with a mobile connection and total peace of mind that your data is secure, backed up and always available to you. So, you know, any iPad, phone, computer, anything with an internet connection, you can get into your data. You don't need to download anything. So today's webinar is designed to provide you with a really broad overview of how WriteUp can help you save time, reduce admin, delight your clients and stay compliant. And it's not intended to be a detailed overview of WriteUp. We do have a ton of other resources that you can access, including lots more webinars. I'll show you how to access those later on when I share my screen with you. We also have online support, live chat button and an extensive help center. We also do have a dedicated YouTube channel, so you can check that out if you are looking for just a short video on how to do something. So the topics that we're going to cover today are how WriteUp can help you streamline your practice management, the tools designed to save you time, so really shave off hours from your week, the features that you can use to improve your client's experience, and some of the ways in which we've tackled GDPR compliance and security as well. So for the cost of your subscription, you'll get full access to the WriteUp product, and you also get online technical support as well. And that is just ongoing whenever you need it. You can just grab us for a chat and we will be able to help you. We also do offer Zoom calls for people if the chat is proving a little bit difficult and you just want to have a chat with somebody. We have 15-minute Zoom calls available as well. So you can just get in touch on the live chat and ask for one of those. The support guys are happy to offer those to you. So there are some optional additional costs. You don't have to have them, but if you do want them, they do cost a little bit extra. The first one is SMS credits. So if you opt to send out text appointment confirmations and reminders, you'll need to purchase text credit bundles. The first 20 credits are included with your subscription. Video minutes as well. If you use WriteUp's built-in video consultation platform, you'll need to purchase video minutes, but the first 1,000 minutes are included with your subscription, so you can have a really good play around with it, see if it works for you, and then additional bundles are available to buy after that. It's 1p a minute, so it's quite affordable. Online booking, that's an additional $4.95 plus VAT per month if you decide to include online booking as part of your subscription. So the price isn't fixed, it's not dependent on the number of users on your site. So if you have 1 user or 20 users, it's still going to cost you exactly the same to have your clients book their own appointments online, which will go straight into your diary. And also Square, within WriteUp, you have the option of taking invoice payments and online prepayments via the payment gateway Square, and Square do charge a transactional fee for these payments. If you do want to have if you do want to know what those are, please grab us for a live chat. We'll be able to talk you through those, or you can get in touch with Square. So to get started, I'll take you through a really simple patient journey in WriteUp. We're going to touch on some, but not all of the key features that will help you to streamline your practice management and really eradicate paper, which I know a lot of you are wanting to do. So let me just go ahead and share my screen now. Just give me a second. Okay. So when you log into WriteUp, it looks a little bit like this. It's just your diary, your calendar screen. You can see here, I'll just go through a couple of the buttons that are on the screen here. In the top left, that's the main menu up there. That will just open up all of the options that you have. The ones that you're really going to be wanting to look at when you first start up a trial with WriteUp, or when you first subscribe, is your settings there. In the top right then, if I go up here, you can see I've got a client here. This is John Appleseed, he's just my practice client. He'll also be in your trial site as well that you can use. You can play around with his record. He's there, he's my active client who I'm working on at the moment. And above that is my name up there. If I click on that, you can see I can get any notifications in there. I can log out and go to my settings as well. I can also manage my notifications from here as well. Still in the top right hand corner, the little smiley face up here, what that will do is it opens up a portal where you can share your opinion on what you like, what you think about write-up and what you'd like write-up to add. So if you do have any feature requests, if there's anything that you want to include in the write-up package, then please do go in there and suggest it for us. You can also vote on other people's suggestions. So depending on how many votes something gets is how likely it will be to be in one of the feature releases that we do. And the question mark up here, that just opens up the help center for you. So if you do want to have a look through, we've got loads of categories, loads and loads of articles in there that you can find anything that you're looking for, and will usually be in there. And in the top left, this little diary icon just brings you straight back to this homepage. At any time, you can go in here. But most of the time, we're going to be working with a patient or a client, and you're going to want to go to the create button up here. Okay, so clicking create, and we're going to click on client, and this is how we're going to register our new client. So you just need to complete the relevant fields in here to create a patient record for them. Actually, you only need first name and surname in here to create a record, because obviously you may not have all of that information. But if you did want to send them out any forms for them to fill in, like a registration or intake form, you'll need to have their email address and their phone number as well in there, so that you can send the form to them. And then what they can do is fill in all their information. You can automatically import that into write-up. So you don't actually have to fill all this in. You can actually ask your clients to do that, and you can just pop that data straight in there without having to type it all in. It just saves a little bit of time. And then once you're happy with your client record, you just need to click on Save Changes. So I'm not going to create one because I've got lots and lots. And if you want to find your client, you can search for them up here. I type in John, for example, I can see all my clients with the name of John, and I'm going to work on this client here. Another thing to note when you're setting up a client as well is that they will automatically be opted in to phone and email communications. And what these are, the automatic communications, which we'll be looking at further in a little bit. These are like, so if you book somebody an appointment, they'll get an email confirmation or a text message confirmation, depending on what you want to send them, just to say, this is, you've booked into this appointment on this date at this time. And also it can automatically send out reminders for up from an hour up to 7 days before their appointment. It can send out some reminder to them, which really cuts down on your no-shows and your DNAs. If you do set up these automatic reminders, they're really effective, especially the text message ones. So you just want to make sure that they're opted in. If you want to opt them out, all you have to do is just untick that little button there. So you might want to attach a file for a new patient before they attend, maybe a referral letter that you've got. So you can do this by going to create and then going into attachment. And then all you need to do is select the file from your computer, and then you can pop that into their record. It's important to note that it needs to be 8 megabytes or less, but there is absolutely no restriction on how many files that you upload. So you've got, endless data and cloud storage. Once you've uploaded that, if you click in the Files tab, you can any documents will appear in here. Anything that you've uploaded will appear in their Files tab in there, and you can view them, you can edit them from there as well, but you can also download them to your computer and then edit them outside of write-up and then re-upload them as well. It depends what the file is. For example, you can't edit an Excel file in write-up. You'd have to take it out and then put it back in. So that's the way, if you did want to attach anything to their record, you can do that. And you can attach video files, sound files, Word documents, Excel documents, loads of stuff really. Just 8 megabytes or less is all you need to worry about there. Okay, so let's book an appointment for my client then. What you need to do is navigate to the diary screen. You just need to click on that little diary icon up there that we looked at earlier, and then click on any free slot to open up the appointment details screen. So let's book one in for next week. Let's do one for next Tuesday. And here you can modify the various options available to you. So you can actually, you can change who you want this to be booked for. So this will book for the client that you've got active in the top right-hand corner. You can switch that client up by clicking on this switch icon here. You can change the type of appointment. So depending on if you've got lots of different treatments that you offer, you can change that in here, and the time as well, the date and the status. You can change all these. You can see here that the communications, this person is opted in, so that these communications are green. If you wanted to mute them at this stage, you can. So you can switch them off, but I'm going to keep them. You can also have this as a recurring appointment if you want to. And then you just need to click save, and that's the appointment in the diary for you. And now what will happen next is this client will be sent an automated email confirmation of their appointment, and that will contain the forms, the intake forms and the consent forms that I wanted to send them before their appointment, so that they're filling in forms before they arrive, and it's done and saved to their record before they even turn up to their appointment. So if I go into my emails here, you can see this is what my client has received. So it says, "Dear John, your appointment is on this time. Before your appointment, please fill in the following forms." So we've got some forms here. And then if I click on my pre-appointment form, this is what the client will see. So they'll be sent an access code. So they need to have a phone number for in order to open up their form, and they'll need to enter the access code in here. So it's 230341. The code's sent instantaneously. And then this is what your client will see when they open up their form. So they just need to fill in some of this info. I'll show you how this works and how they then pop it into your record. So they just need to put the details in here. You can make these fields mandatory, but I've not, because otherwise it's very boring for you to watch me fill in the whole form. Okay, and then they save that form. Once they've filled in the form, it'll say, "Are you ready to submit the form?" And then just click continue, and that's the form completed for them. And then back and right up, you'll see in your notifications that smart form has been completed. So if you set up your form with all the questions that you want to ask them, they would have filled all of that in, and then you can import all of that information into their record, and that's their record complete. So it saves you a ton of time. You just need to click on import here. This little button will pop up. It'll say current information, updated information. So this is the information I already had. This is what my clients put in, and I'm just going to import that. And it says fields imported back into the patient record then, and it's got a bit more information in there. Obviously not all of it, but yours will be a lot better than mine, and your form will capture a lot more than mine will. Okay, so how do we set up these forms? Now, it's a little bit of a mystery, but let's debunk it now. So if you go into the main menu here and go into settings, this time we're going to look in assessments, in the assessments tab. And this is where you can set up your forms and assessments that you want to send out to your patients. And you don't have to send them out with your automatic communication as soon as they book. You can send some of them out with that, and you can also send some other ones out manually if you wanted to further down their treatment line. So you'll see here I've got 3 saved in my favorites at the moment, but you can either set them up from scratch, or you can actually use one of our pre-built templates that are already loaded into WriteUp, so that you don't have to start from scratch if you don't want to. You can actually have a look at these templates and edit them out as much as you want to. And you can just look at the list by clicking here on this link here. You can see this is the assessment store. They're all free, so don't worry, it's not a store in that sense. You can scroll through and see we've got loads and loads of templates in here. Depending on what speciality you're in, we'll obviously define what kind of template you're looking for. But the one we're going to look at to start with is, if I can find it in here, let me just go back to my assessments. Hold on, I'm going to remove that one. Go back. If you scroll sort of halfway down, you'll see that one is the registration form. Now, what this is, it's just a really basic form set up for your patient registration. Basically, it's got all of the fields in there that you'd want them to fill in when you first make an appointment for somebody and you want to actually book them and complete their record. So you can look at that form and go to preview. You can see this is how it's set up. It's very basic, but you can add more stuff into there. You can take stuff out if you want to. So In order to edit that and also send it to your patients and your clients, you need to click on add to favorites. And now if I go back into my assessments tab, you can see that my registration form is there. If I click here, I can't edit it yet. So I need to go to duplicate. It will ask me to give it a name, but I'm just going to keep it as that copy and just click save. Oh, okay. Fine. Right. Okay, let's start twice. Right. So now if I click on one of these copies that I've made on the 3 dots, I can now edit that form. And this is what it looks like. So if you were to set up a form from scratch, it would look much the same as this. You just wouldn't have these questions in here. If I go into the preview view, you can see these are all my questions that are set up in this form template. Back in the build view, this is how they look. So they look like blocks, and you're just going to be adding and taking away blocks. You can also move them as well if you want to do that. For example, let's say I didn't want title field. I'm just going to delete that, get rid of that. And then maybe at the bottom, I wanted to add a signature box because I want them to sign it for you've got some terms and conditions in there and you might want them to sign it. You just need to go to add new field. And you can see here, these are all the options that you have. And there's that signature box in there. So let's go through some of these. You've got the text box, which is basically the one that you would use if you wanted to ask them their first name or their surname. The paragraph, if you wanted them to write more information, perhaps about their background, about their medical history, about any medication that they're on. You can also put single choice, multiple choices and options lists in there. If you're a physio, this is really handy. You've got an annotation upload in there. You can pop one of those in there as well. You can just choose an image, stick it in, and it just means that your clients can go into their form and draw where their pain is, for example. Headings are headings. You can divide out your form into different blocks, and that's a really nice way to do it. Helper text, what that is if you wanted to enter in a block of text, for example, your terms and conditions or anything else you wanted to put in a paragraph just explaining what they need to do with this form or when they need to fill it in by, or any information you want to put in there, you can stick that in as a helper text, and that will just be an uneditable block of text that your client will see and they can read that and they can review it. A horizontal line, again, it just divides up your form, and that's the date drop-down box. And these smart fields here, these are the ones that can be imported straight into the record, and you can also add your own custom fields to these. So if you did want to ask them extra information that isn't already included in the standard patient record that's set up in WriteUp, you can add extra fields in here and ask them extra info, and that will just, again, import automatically into their record. Once you're happy with your form, you can just publish and exit it, and then it's ready for you to send to your client. Now, we'll look at the automatic communications in a second and how to add those to your emails, but for now, we'll just send one out manually. You go up to create, you go up to form assessment, and in here, you'll see that there's a smart form column here, and this is how you need to send them out online to your clients for them to fill in online. In here. So you just need to click on one of these. I'll just click on the GDPR consent one. It'll say who do you want to send this to. So if you do have an next of kin in there, any other third party saved to the record, you can also send it to them as well. You can send a message along with this form, and you can set up a template for it. So I've just popped that in there nice and quick, and then you just click send, and that's the form sent. And then they would just access it just as I did before. They'll get an email, they click on the link, and they open the form and they fill it in. Now, you can also fill these in with your client in clinic if you wanted to do that. You just need to click on the actual name of the form. So if I click on my pre-appointment form, you can see that this opens up, and I can just fill in these here straight onto my computer or my tablet or something like that. What a lot of people also like to do is put a office use only section at the bottom of their form, which just has a big paragraph box or whatever, a date box as well. It just means that the clinician or the therapist can fill that in once the form has been filled in. So if I head to my client's record, then if I go into the forms and assessments tab, you can see that my pre-appointment form that I sent out to John Appleseed has been completed, and I can click into that form and it's automatically saved in there for me. I am able to edit this, so just bear that in mind. You are able to edit any forms that your clients do fill in. So if you know, for example, if they pop something in the wrong place or if something doesn't look quite right, you can go in and edit that. And it also means, again, if you do have an office use only section at the bottom bottom of your form. Once your client has filled in all of their information, you're then able to add in your notes and your information at the bottom as well. You can lock that form. It's not essential that you lock a form, particularly if you're the only clinician in your site. But if you are a multi-clinician practice, you might want to lock your forms just to make sure that nobody else goes in and edits them or does it by accident. So if I just click yes on there, it just locks the form as like a PDF, just a flat document. You can't do anything with it. You are able to unlock that as well if you're the site admin. So don't worry if you do that by mistake. There's a couple more options down here. You can email that form out. So if you wanted to email a form to a GP, for example, you can pop that in there. The direct message, that's just a safer pathway that you can send things from. So if you did want to send this to an next of kin or anybody really, if you send it by direct message, it just means that they need to get that code sent to their phone before they can access the information within it. These options are available in most things in write-up, so you've got that availability there as well. Down here as well, if you haven't done the import from your notification, again, you can import all the information from here, and you can just delete that form as well if you want to as well. And that's where it is. It's saved in forms and assessments. And while we're in this record, I just wanted to just show you quickly the appointments tab as well. So any appointments that you've set up, they are in here, and any messages that you've sent out. So there's my form that I sent to John is there as well. So you can check what's been sent, what's been looked at and things like that. So it's quite a nice place. It's quite handy. Everything's saved in the record. You don't need to go anywhere else to save anything else. Right, let's fast forward then to treatment date. So you've seen the patient and you probably want to write up some notes for them. So you're going to go to create, and this time you're going to click in note. And this is a really, really nice, easy part of write up. It's really simple to do and really simple to use. It will just give you a text box here that you can fill in. There's some formattable options up here. And you can go ahead and write your note if you want to. The trick here is probably to set up some templates. It will just save you a lot of time if you're always writing the same note or the same template really of note for each of your clients. If you put one in there, if I just, for example, I've got my standard note, it will just pull through my information about my client in there. I've put a table in with some headings, and I can just go ahead and fill in my information without having to write these out every single time. You don't really need this information at the top, but it's just for an example. You can see here that the patient name is automatically pulled through onto my template. I've done that by using this variable drop down here. So the VAR here box, the variables, you can just go in and select first name and surname, and it will just pull that information in. Same with all this stuff here. So you can set those up in your templates, which is really, really good. And then you can save and exit your notes. And like everything else in write-up, it is saved automatically in the record. If I go to the notes tab, it's there. You can see my note is saved, and you can go in there, edit it as well. Another thing here, if you want to look at all of the notes that you've made in one page on one screen, you can click in the list and you can just scroll through there, and it'll just divide them up by this grey line here. So that's quite nice way to look at things. So finally, once a patient has attended and the appointment's complete, you can generate an invoice for that appointment. So you just need to choose the invoice from the create menu this time. So let's go to create and go to invoice. You'll see here the appointment we've just booked in down here. You can actually, what this will do is it'll pull through all of the appointments that haven't been invoiced for yet. So you can invoice them all at once if you want to, or you can just choose the one that you want to invoice for there. You can also add an expense as well. So if you charge for fuel expenses, any products that you're selling, you can add the expense on there, and then you just need to click generate invoice. In here, this is editable as well, so it'll just take you through to the next screen, the invoice dates and the due dates, and here you can actually select who it's payable by. So it might not be payable by the client, it might be by the insurer or an next of kin or a third party. And what that will do, if you did select a different third party in there, it will just update who that invoice is being sent to. But it will keep the client details, so it will keep who the invoice is actually regarding in there. Down here in the description, you can change what the line item's called. The 3 dots here, you can actually edit the cost of the appointment if you wanted to, so the price, the tax rate, and you can also pop a discount on there if you're feeling generous that day, and then just click update, and that will just update the invoice there for you, and then you just click save. And that's your invoice done. Down in the bottom right hand corner, you can just email that straight off to your client, and that's it done. Once it's been paid, you can also use that paid invoice as a receipt. And we're going to look at a few other ways of how your clients can pay their invoice just in the next 20 minutes or so. So if I go into the account tab this time in my patient record, you can see these are all the invoices I've raised for him, and you can see the status on here as well, how they've paid, and you can click on pay. If it's a bank transfer, for example, you can click on pay. I'll just pay an old one. You can say how they paid and click save, and then that's just updated it as paid. So that's a really simple patient journey. Moving on, let's look at a similar journey, but we'll introduce a few of the tools in Write-Up that will help you just to win back a few hours in your day. So let's look first at the appointment communications that can be sent by Write-Up, because these are automated and it just really helps to reduce the amount of time you spend on manually sending messages to your patients. I know reminders are a real strain on a lot of clinicians, reminders to remind people. So it does it automatically. It's really handy. So these are defined by going to the main menu, going down to settings and going into scheduling. And we're going to look in the appointment communication tab where you can set up as many or as few as you like. So there are a number of default confirmations and reminders set up for you to use when you take out your Write-Up trial. But let's just set up a really simple email confirmation of an appointment just now, just to see how it's done. So we're going to click on new trigger, and then we're going to set the method to email. So we're just going to keep it on email. In the template, I'm just going to put new appointment email, because that's, I just want an email sent out when I set up a new appointment for my clients that has some information and also the forms included in there that I want them to fill in before their appointment. The event here is just a single booking that I want this to go out for. You've got other options here. So like recurring bookings, you'll probably want, well, you will want different text in there to say, for example, your appointment's going to be every Monday for the next 6 weeks. You wouldn't want that on just a single. So you've got, that's just an example, but you've got a few other events in there. Also the video ones down here and the reminders will be different as well. And if type is optional, you can actually send different communications for different treatment types, different appointment types. So I'm just going to leave that blank. That'll mean it'll just send the same one out for all of my appointment types, and then just click save. So that's up the top there. Now, if I click into the 3 dots, I'm going to actually edit my template in here. I'm going to take out this bit here. So you'll see this is actually what it'll already be set up like. It'll have a really basic text in there. So it has their first name and the appointment is on and the date and the time. How these again are done is in the variable drop down. So if I just take out my first name, go into the variable and click first name, it's putting it in hashtags because this is my template, but when this actually sends out, it'll pull the first name from the patient record and pop it in there. So it just personalizes that email for you. Then I also want to send out some forms that I want my clients to fill in before the appointment. So it's really nice way of just getting everything sent out to them in one go without you even having to do anything. It just does it automatically as soon as the appointment's been booked. Send out all the information you want to send, all their forms and attachments, done. You don't have to think about it again. You don't have to do anything else. So if I say, please fill in these forms, you would write it better than me. And you'll see here next to the VAR box is the forms box. If I click in here, you can select which of your forms you want to send out to your client. And you can also you can have consent forms and smart forms as well, or forms. So I want them to fill out the pre-appointment form, but I also would really like them to fill out my GDPR consent form as well. So I'm going to put them both in. You can write as much as you like in here. So you can write all of your you can write your terms and conditions. You can write even your payment information if you want people to pay in advance. You can put in all instructions and location info in there as well. It's pretty big. You can write whatever you like. You can put images as well in there. So you can really make this email confirmation your own and really make it nice and personal to your client. And this form section here is fantastic. It just means that you don't need to go up to create form assessment and send forms anymore. They'll just go automatically as soon as you set up an appointment. Just click Save Template. So if I go into my diary, book an appointment in, I'm just going to book a basic appointment in for John in here. Done. All of that information has now been sent to my client, and it's just fabulously easy. So if I go in here, come on. Oh, it's going to take its time now. It'll come up in here like this. So you've got your appointment there, and there are my forms as well. I can't remember if I showed you the notifications, but this is what they look like. So when somebody's accessed their form, their smart form, you'll see a notification in here that just that the form's been opened, and also when it's been completed, it'll go in there. And you can just go and click in there and remove all of your notifications if you want to do that as well. Okay, I've just had a question in which is actually kind of relevant to appointment communications, and how to remove spacing between the lines. So let me just show you how to do that quickly, really quickly. Now, because it's an HTML template, and it's the same as every other HTML template that is out there, it does put like a separate line in. So I think, so you can see there's a separate line in there. Now we've actually got a Help Center article on this. So let's go to, oops. Where is it? There we are. Why am I know it's double space? So what you need to do is hold down the Shift key at the same time that you hit return when you go in here. So if I go to the end and hold down Shift, you'll see that I've only got a single line. So just hold Shift and it will just put a single line in there. And if you don't, it does that double line. I hope that answers your question. But yeah, it's just because it's an HTML editor, that's all. Okay, cool. So we had a really quick look at how to email invoices. So let's have a look at how that your clients can actually pay those invoices a little bit quicker, and how you can get your money a little bit quicker as well. So if I go into John Appleseed's record and go into the account tab and look in just that invoice I did there, you can see if I scroll down to the bottom, what I've actually done is I've set up a pay invoice button in here. What that does is if he clicks on that pay invoice button, it'll open up my payment information that is with my Square integration. So you need to have a Square account set up for this to work, but that's really, really simple to do, and I'll show you how to set it up. And basically what it means is he can put his name and email in there, his address details, then his card details, and he just pays that straight off. And what WriteUp will do is once he's paid that, it will mark the invoice as paid, and that's it, finished. You don't need to do anything else with it. So that's a really, really good way to get paid a little bit quicker. Now let's see how you set that up. So if I go into the main menu and go down to integrations and add-ons, you'll see here I've got a Square box. Now you can, if you want to, you can set this up with Stripe, which was what we still integrate with. But at the moment, Square is for UK and Stripe is for international. If you are in the UK and you do want to use Stripe, just let us know, and we just need to enable that on your account. So just grab us for a live chat. We can do that for you. The Square one is better purely because if you ever want to take in-person payments, you can get one of these. Sorry, I'm really small, but you can get one of these terminals, and it just means that people can pay by card in clinic, and you can take that around with you. It's fantastic. So Square is the preferred option here. You just need to click on configure, and then you'll see here, mine's already connected, but you'll see here that there's a connect my Square account button. You just need to click that, log into Square, and once you've done that, that's it, you're done. You'll be connected to Square. And then you can also set up your terminals in here as well. So once you've done that, if I go back into my diary and I click on my appointment that I've got with John next week, oh, that one's already been paid, that one, you'll see that I've got my little square icon in the top right-hand corner of my appointment screen. If I click on take payment, and click take payment here, what that will do is it will send the payment information to my terminal. You can't see that because the light is so terrible, but you can see there that's come up on my terminal. They just need to tap their card or their phone on there. The payment will go through, and then once it goes through onto that terminal, it will come up on your write-up screen, payment done. And again, that will mark the invoices paid and save it in the record for you. So it's really, really nice integration with Square. So easy as well. I mean, just clicking on there and clicking up there. That's just, go away, stop. That's just telling me I haven't paid because I tried to pay with my hand, which isn't going to work. So yeah, so that's the Square terminal set up. You can also set it up so that you take payment in advance of somebody booking an appointment with online booking. So if you did want to use online booking, you can, they'll go through their booking, the booking process, and then they'll have to put their payment information in before they can actually confirm that booking. So let's take a really quick look at online booking and how that works, and also how you can set that up that payment. So if you did want your clients to book online before their book online for their own appointments, so you're not having to speak to people on the phone, not having to faff around with emails back and forth, you can actually set up online booking. What it does is it gives your clients the option to look at the spaces in your diary and book into those, and you have complete control over that. So let's have a look at what it looks like. If I go into the main menu and go into integrations and add-ons, you can see here's the online booking button, and I'm going to configure. That will open up my online booking admin area. And you can switch online booking on and off in here if you want to. And there's a few other options down here that you can set up. So let's go ahead and set up our online booking site. You can go into the users tab, and in here you can actually say, well, I want to take bookings, but Joe Blogs, he's my administrator. He's actually just doing the admin and taking bookings for me. I don't want people to be able to pay to book into his diary, so I'm going to switch him off. So you can choose who's visible basically, and I'll just toggle that off there. Treatments, much the same. You might have some treatment types that you don't want to be available to book, and some that you really do. So you might have, for example, you might even have just an introductory treatment session, and that's the only one you want people to be able to book in online. And then any follow-ups after that, you book with them. So you book it when they're in clinic and when they're face-to-face, when you're speaking to them on a video call. So you, again, follow-ups, for example, I've toggled as no. I don't want that treatment to be available on my online booking site. But the other ones I do. I want people to be able to book these ones in. Locations, if you're working in multiple locations, you can again, you can say where you want people to book. You can keep all of them as yes, or you can switch one off and one on, or however many you want to. So you've got control on that as well. If we look in the marketing section then, to get a little bit of context on this, I'm going to show you what your online booking site will look like, and then we'll come back to see how you set that up. Click on view the website. This is your online booking website in here. You can change these colors, you can change this text. You change the logo. Everything about this is you can edit it to look like you and to be in line with your brand. Up here, you can see appointment types. I've just got some appointment types up here. You can put your own images in there. You can also put in a little bio about what they're going to get in that appointment, and then they can just find their appointments in there. I've put about me. So this is just about me as a podiatrist. I'm not a podiatrist, it's just an example. And you can have a bio about you in there. You can also put your contact details at the top if you want to as well, and then you can change this info. And here you can also add some like offers or anything in there really. I had one lady put an image of her new certificate that she got because she'd trained and become able to perform other treatments in there because she'd had some training. So she put the thingy in there, the certificate image in there. So if I go back to the admin area, you can see this is how you set all that up. So how you make it look, how you want it to look. So you just go in here, so you can have like welcome to write up practice. welcome text in there. These are your promotion boxes where you can change all this, which I really should change because I'm seriously out of date. And also, like, you can put another one in there, like a small one as well. So you can have more than one down there. In your settings, then, this is where you can change the themes. So you can change what the colors are and what it looks like. You can actually put in things that all the information that you want to appear on your website as well. And down at the bottom, you can see down here my notification settings, so you can receive emails when somebody books online. You don't have to rely on being logged into WriteUp, but this is the one, the require payment for booking. You want to make sure that's toggled on if you want to take payments from people before they can confirm. And doing this will really cut down on people not showing up to your appointments. They've already paid for it. It's really unlikely they're not going to show. So it's a really, really good way of almost eradicating no shows from your practice. I'm going to toggle that off because I want to show you the online booking process from start to finish. Okay, so let's go into our site then, and let's pretend I'm a client and I'm coming into your practice, onto your practice website. This is your URL up here. You will get your own URL. You can put that anywhere. You can put it on your socials. You can put it behind a button on your website so that people just click on a book now button straight from your website. They'll come to this page, they book, and then you can link them back to your website. What they do is they say when they're available from and what treatment type they want to book. So I'll just say routine shortly for me. And then they click on CR availability. Now, what this will do is it will throw up any availability that you have in your diary. It doesn't show them, obviously, it doesn't show them any of the bookings that are in your diary. It's only showing you the spare gaps that you've got that you want people to book into. So let's say I want to book in next Thursday morning. They'll go in here. They'll put in their information in here. I'll actually change the name because I've got so many Johns in here. These are mandatory, so sorry, I will be as quick as I can typing these up because I know it's boring. That's rubbish. And they can put in some additional info. That's not mandatory, so they don't need to do that. And then they click confirm your booking. Now, if you've got the payment toggled on, they'll have to put their payment details in through the square. And then once the payment has cleared, then they'll see this screen. So then they'll be able to see that their booking's complete, and then that's how they're booking in. They can add this to their calendar. They can print the summary of that as well. They can go back to your website in there, and that's it done. So if I go back into WriteUp and check out my notifications this time, you can see I've got an online booking. I've received an online booking. And what it will do is if it doesn't recognize the client as an existing client in your account, and it knows that by the email address and the phone number and obviously the name, if it can't match all those up, it will create a new client for you. So it's created a new record. If I click and view client, it's created a new record for me, and you can see this was created because there was an incoming online booking appointment in there. Again, an email will be sent out to this person with the forms in it automatically, so they have to fill in those forms. So essentially, if you're using online booking and the online payments, somebody's booked themselves in, they've paid, WriteUp has created that client and the invoice and marked the invoice as paid. WriteUp's automatically sent out an email to that client with all of the forms that they need to fill in. They fill in those forms online, and then the forms are saved automatically to their record. You've done nothing. You've literally done nothing at all. All you need to do is turn up to the appointment. That's it, because everything's been automated for you. If you do decide to use these little extra add-ons, it will save you a ton of time. I promise you. I promise. You can obviously just use a selection of those if you don't want to use them all, but it's a real time saver. The automation is really, really good. I just want to show you before we go on to GDPR, I just want to show you the consent forms as well. We do actually have a consent form portal, and these also, you can add these to your email as well. So you would have seen earlier I had a GDPR consent form. So we've streamlined the form completing process for online consent for GDPR. So it just makes it really, really easy for you to do and for your clients to agree to any of your terms and conditions. It doesn't have to be GDPR, it can be anything. So it just makes it really nice, easy. If I go up to, if I go into the main menu and go to settings and then go into more, and you'll see here's privacy, you can set up as many consent forms as you like in here. If you forget where all these things are, everywhere I've clicked, I know it's a really fast moving webinar. Please do get in touch with us on a live chat. We'll be able to send you the Help Center articles for these, and also a recording of the webinar if you want to afterwards. So anyway, you'll see your consent forms here. Anything that you've set up are there. You can set up as many consent forms as you want. Let's take a look at the GDPR consent. So you want to create a new one by clicking on that green button down there, but I'm just going to edit the one I've already got. So you'll need to give it a name. The portal introduction text, we've actually got some example text in our help center that you could just copy and paste in there if you don't want to type your own. But basically what you're going to do in there is just tell them what the form is and why they need to fill it in. And then if you've already got existing terms and conditions or consent form text, just copy and paste it into there, or you can type it up in there. You don't really need to format a consent form that much. They're basically just agreeing to your text, your terms and conditions. So I wouldn't really worry. I would just stick the text in there and click save, and that's done. That's your consent form done. It will be sent out automatically, obviously, to your client. Oh, that's not the right one. Hold on. But what you can do is you can send it manually if you want to as well. There'll probably be more reason for you to send these manually. If you've got clients on your books for a while, you're probably going to update your consent text or your terms and conditions. So you'll probably want to send these out to people, again, just to keep them up to date. So you go into create and you go to consent. And then what you want to do is click consent via email. And this just means that they will consent for that online. You can do it in person as well, and you just tick it in when they're there. I'm going to pop in my template in there. It's got my consent form link, and I'm just going to send that email straight off to my client. Okay, so here we are. There's my consent form. If I click review consent form in there, this is what the client will do. They'll open it up. They'll see my text in there. That'll be your logo, not ours, obviously. They say who they are in the client. They just need to type in their name in there, and they click consent, and that's it done. That's automatically finished for you. It's saved to your record as well. I'm just going to go in here. If I go into my notifications, you can see the consent's been granted. I can view that consent form, but equally, if I go into my patient's record and I go into the privacy tab, you can see there that consented via email by me, well, by my client, it's the same as me, the GDPR consent form. Back in the record as well, if they have given consent, this little green icon will appear with these lines and a little tick. That just means they've given consent, so it's done. So that's just a really quick way that you could check if somebody's seen the consent form and also consented as well to your terms. So I'm just going to wrap things up really quickly because I'm aware of the time. We're just going to cover some of the slightly less exciting features in Write-Up, but these are things that should give you peace of mind with GDPR compliance and security. So GDPR places a number of requirements on you, including the need to handle data access requests, completely erase data, correct data if there are any inaccuracies, along with any that have been passed to third parties as well. And thankfully, Write-Up does contain the tools that can help you handle these requests. So let's take a look at the main menu. And with this time, we're not going to go into settings, we're going to go into tools. And you'll see in here, there's lots of different things, but the GDPR ones you really want to be looking at are, first off, the data hygiene tool. What this does is you can pop in here, so time since last intervention. So if you are a clinician who has to keep hold of patient records for 10 years, and then if nothing's happened with those records in that time, you have to delete them, you can go into time since last intervention 10 years, and it will give you a list of clients whose records haven't been intervened within that time. And you can go through and just delete those records. So it takes that stress away of having to remember or have to log or keep note of how long you've had each record for and when it should be deleted. Next up is the security log, and this will show you who's logged into your account, any clients that have been deleted, and any data that's been exported as well. So it's quite important if you've got a multi-clinician account. The show export one's pretty good. You can just see who's actually exported any information out of that record. Logins as well. If you've got multiple people logging into your account, you can see when they've logged in, who logged in. And also, if you ever ask Write-Up to log into your account to help you with a problem that you're having, we can only do this with your permission. There's no way that we can do it otherwise. You can see who's logged in. So if one of us at Write-Up were to log in, you would know about it. It's in the security log. Okay, let's go back to my tools. The next one is access requests. So if somebody has requested a copy of all the data that you hold on them, then you will by law have to send them you'll have to perform an access request within 30 days. This is a really nice and easy way to do it. If you've got everything saved in Write-Up, and this kind of takes you right back to the beginning of our webinar, when you attach files. So even if you've got stuff offline, it's really worth attaching that file to your record, because if you do ever have to do an access request, you just click on create access request here. You put the date and who it's requested by and the name, and then you click save. And what that will do is it will save everything that you have on that client saved in that record into a zip file. You download it to your computer and you send it straight off to your client. It takes minutes. It's so much easier than having stuff in cabinets, saved on different apps, saved in different folders on your computer. It will really save you time, and it's so much less stressful if you do it this way. So that's another great GDPR tool. And finally is the delete client. So obviously any client can ask to be deleted forever and to be forgotten. You can go in here, you can click delete, and then it'll ask you if you're sure, and you just click OK, and that will just completely delete the client, and you'll be notified when that deletion has taken place. It's worth bearing in mind that if you do delete clients, we can't get that back. So obviously you're in control of your data. If you want something to be deleted, it's deleted. We don't keep a copy of it, and we certainly don't keep a backup of it either. You can also set up and use two-factor authentication when logging into Write-Up. So it just adds a layer of protection to your account and the information it contains. So if 2FA is set up on your account, once you've entered your username and password, you'll also be prompted to enter the verification code. So as part of the setup process, you'll need to link Write-Up to the Google Authenticator app. It's so easy to use. You just open the app and it will give you that code on your phone. So to set this up, to set up 2FA, you go to the main menu, you go into settings, and you go into users in here, and here you can configure two-factor authentication. Really, really easy to do. It will just talk you through the steps and the process and how to do it. So it's nice. We briefly touched on the direct messaging pathway as well earlier when we looked at the process of sending a smart form. So as I mentioned, this pathway, it just sends information secured using two factors, a link within an email and an access code within an SMS. So that's how the form is opened as well. And it just provides an extra layer of security to any patient identifiable information that you send. So if you are sending any notes to a GP, for example, or to anybody, it's definitely worth it. The invoices, they can just be emailed. You know, they're not as secure as, say, patient notes or assessment forms, but the direct message password, definitely worth taking a look at, having a think about whether you want to send information via that pathway instead. So with those features, and there are more in there, we just really don't have time to go through more. Write-Up does provide the GDPR tools that you require as a data controller, along with the features you need just to help meet your professional record keeping requirements. So I'm just going to take a look at the questions at the moment we've got in here. I think some of them have been answered by the guys as well. Two-factor authentication I've been through. I think I've been through most of these live. If I haven't been through your question, please do grab us for a live chat. So if you do need to get in touch with us, it's really, really simple to do. Down in the bottom right-hand corner is our little chat box here. That'll open up. You can get in touch with us about anything you need to. So if you're stuck with anything, if you need extra information, please do grab us for a live chat. We just really like to hear from you. Even if you just want to say hi, please do grab us for a chat in there. As I said, if you do want to request a Zoom call for 15 minutes just to go through anything with one of the support guys, then we'll be happy to do that with you. It's quite nice, share our screen, and we can talk through any problems that you're having that way. The Help Center button at the top right hand corner as well. I touched on this earlier, but if you did want to find anything in here, then you can. If you put into 2FA, for example, you can see how to enable 2FA in here. It will just come up with the most popular articles. It's pretty good. It's pretty intuitive, actually. And then if you scroll down here, you can look in all the categories and you can look at those. So our live chat is actually there Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. If for any reason you get in touch with us after this time or over the weekend, Don't worry, still send your message, because what we'll do is we'll just grab it when we come back in and we'll send you an email just with a reply. So never think, oh, they're not there, I can't send it. Please just send us a message. We'll always get back to you, and we're really, really quick at doing so as well. We usually get back to you in a couple of minutes if we're online. So if we're within those working hours. So with that, we're at the end of our 4 topics that we'll be covering today. Just to recap, we've looked at tips on how to streamline the day-to-day management of your practice. We've looked at some tools to help you win back hours of time during the working week, and also ways to delight your clients, really stand out from your competitors. Also, you can fulfill your GDPR requirements, mitigate risk, and manage security all within WriteUp. So hopefully it really will make a difference to your practice. So like I said, this webinar is designed just to be a really broad overview of what WriteUp can offer you as a clinician. But we have thousands of users in over 25 countries. We do understand that everyone has different motivations for using a practice management system. And I really hope that you've identified with at least some of the themes that we've covered today. But as I say, you can come along to more webinars if you want to. Head to the main menu. Scroll right down to the bottom, click join a webinar, and you'll see in here that we have lots of other topics. We have a webinar running every day. Wednesdays we have 2 webinars a day, and you can really, it just gives you a little bit of more of a deep dive onto some of these things that perhaps you're interested in, particularly video consultations and online booking, which you didn't really have time to go through really in loads of details today. So yeah, please do head over to that down there, join a webinar, and you can register onto any other of our webinars. They're not usually as long as this, they're usually half an hour, but this is just our intro one. Okay, so there we go. Where is my, oops. So that's the end of the webinar today. I hope you have a lovely afternoon, and I really hope to see you along on another one of our webinars, and I really do also hope to see you on our live chat. So I hope you have a fantastic day, everybody. Bye-bye. See you later.